Do you have questions to Mr. Riche? Because we have time, since we will have only three presentations on the next session, because Dr. Kulikova will be absent today. So we'll have three reports, three presentations to need to finish them until 6. Then I would like to ask a short question to Dr. Riche about the Taiwanese investments and Chinese investment in the region. It seems to me that in some countries where Taiwanese investments are presented, like Czech Republic, Foxconn investment, and other companies, subsidiaries of Foxconn, influenced a bit, maybe a lot, to the politics of the policy of these countries towards China. Like in Hungary and Serbia, we have strategies, official institutions that improve the relations with China. In Czech Republic, since political elites like split it, some of them linked to Taiwanese money, Taiwanese investment, and some like Miloš Zeman wants to improve the relations with China. Could you answer this question in brief? Thank you.
Well, thank you. Well, I think that it's more complicated. I mean, first, I think that I have mentioned countries from the northeast, more or less has been disappointed by the amount of Chinese investment which has been realized. And also we have to question the process through which those investment has been discussed. It's let's say top-to-top discussions, government to government. If you take the memorandum of has been discussed in full opacity and so on. So it means China is creating a framework in which you can discuss almost everything, and then after the companies are coming. So I mean, it's top down. It's not like if we consider, let's say, countries and open economy. There are, let's say, companies who are discussing directly with other companies their project, investment project. Here, in fact, we have a process which goes through state-to-state discussion, then after you go to the other side. So it's the first thing. Secondly, it's the difference between what is announced and what is realized. So the main complaint, which is not made by countries who are theoretically against China. I mean, those countries have quite good relations with China, but I mean, their disappointment is the fact that we have a big discussion. We have you have plain well, I mean, a lot of formal agreement and so on, and besides, very few things are coming. So I could give many cases, even in the case of constructing let's say tracks, train tracks and so on. So if you look, you see it's very different. So I mean, secondly, you have the problem of, for China, when, as I mentioned at the end, the problem for China is where to make the best investment if we look, for instance, for technology, higher technology. Is it in Western Europe or in this part of Europe? It doesn't mean that China is not interested by investing, for instance, in countries like Hungary or Baltic countries. Those countries are very attractive for China because they have capacities and so on. But I mean, the problem is that in terms of importance market of the market and so on, it's maybe more interesting to go towards Western Europe than its area. Now, concerning Taiwan, I think that what is happening in Czech Republic is very interesting because I think, as you mentioned, is a split among the elites. You know, it's very interesting. It's not necessarily between companies, but among the elites, because on the one hand, you have the president, which was very close to China and hoping to set up and develop cooperation. And another part discuss the fact that other countries like Taiwan should be and we know the opposition. We know that China is very sensible on the Taiwan issues, but I don't think that there is a choice between Taiwanese companies against the Chinese companies at this stage.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your presentation and for the answer. Then we will move on to today's agenda. Further, I would like to ask Mikhail Yurievich Golovnin if he's present, because he had some duties in some parallel conferences.